Alright.
When Tony Stark snapped his fingers at the end of Avengers Endgame, it felt like the climax of a decade, but it was more than that. It was the final chapter in one of the most complex, tragic, and visionary character arcs in modern cinema. This is not just a story about a billionaire genius in a flying suit. This is about a man trying to fix the world, and ultimately sacrificing himself because he believed it was broken. Tony Stark wasn't just right about Ultron, about Thanos, about needing a suit of armor around the world. He was right about us. Let's go back to the birth of Iron Man. We meet Tony in a cave, not a lab, not a mansion, a cave with scraps. The first Iron Man movie isn't about heroism, it's about guilt. Tony's weapons are being used to kill innocent people, and for the first time, the genius playboy realizes that the world isn't just his playground, it's his responsibility. This isn't a traditional origin story. Tony isn't bitten by a spider or born with powers. He builds his own salvation out of trauma. He creates Iron Man not for glory, but for redemption, and that set the tone for everything that followed. Tony's core flaw, which is also his strength, is control. He's not trying to dominate the world, he's trying to save it by outsmarting it. In Iron Man 2, he hides his sickness from the world. In Iron Man 3, he's drowning in PTSD from the Battle of New York. The man who once called himself
Genius, billionaire, playboy
is unraveling, but it's not weakness, it's awareness. Tony understands that threats are always coming, and unlike most heroes, he doesn't wait for danger, he prepares for it. This is why he builds Ultron, not out of arrogance, but fear. Not because he thinks he's a god, but because he knows he's not one. And when Ultron fails, the world blames him. But here's the question, was Tony wrong to try? In Civil War, Tony chooses oversight, not because he trusts governments, but because he no longer trusts himself. He's haunted by Sokovia, by Ultron, by the child killed during the battle. When he tells Steve Rogers,
"If we can't accept limitations, we're no better than bad guys."
he's not quoting a politician, he's confessing. Steve wants freedom, Tony wants accountability. But here's the tragedy, both are right and both are doomed by their values. Tony's side loses the war, but wins the narrative, because years later, when Thanos arrives, it's not Steve who was prepared, it was Tony. From the very first Avengers film, Tony saw the storm coming. That wormhole above Manhattan haunted him. He spent the next 6 years building suits, AIs, and satellites to stop a threat no one else could see. When he finally meets Thanos, he doesn't panic, he just says, "I know you," because he does, and yet he loses. Infinity War does not end with a bang, but with Tony left behind, alone, again, watching the consequences of being right unfold without being able to stop them. When we find Tony in Endgame, he's done fighting. He has a daughter now, peace, life. For once, he's not trying to fix the world, he's trying to live in it. But when faced with a second chance to save everyone, he doesn't hesitate, even though he knows the cost, because Tony Stark's final gift isn't the gauntlet. He lets others help, he works with Steve, he gives Peter one last hug, and in the end, he lets go of control. When he snapped his fingers, he doesn't say I am Iron Man for ego. He says it because that's who he's always been, a flawed man, making impossible choices, trying to do what's right, no matter what it takes. And after that, Tony Stark is gone, but his shadow looms large. His tech lives on in Peter's suits. His values live in Rhodey and Pepper. His heart literally rests in a box that says, proof that Tony Stark has a heart. Tony didn't solve every problem, he didn't save every life, but he changed what it meant to be a hero, not through powers, but through sacrifice. He wasn't perfect, he made enemies, he made mistakes, he made monsters, but he also made heroes. And when the universe needed saving, he didn't hesitate, because Tony Stark was right, and he always was.